Namaskar. As said earlier, I intend to share interesting aspects of Vipassana meditation in a short series of 5 videos. In the first video, we have discussed its introductory facets, and in the second video, we have discussed Vipassana, the practical application. Today, I will tell you a few things about Vipassana for transformation. You know that Vipassana is a very simple method of meditation. Vipassana is to be aware of your breathing, coming and going. There is no special breathing technique. Ordinary, natural breathing is fine to observe. Vipassana means sitting quietly and observing the breath without changing it. Vipassana is not concentration. Along with breathing, whatever comes up, sensations, thoughts, emotions, feelings, can be watched as clouds passing in the sky of our consciousness. Thus, Vipassana means observing breathing, sensation, thoughts, emotions, and feelings without any attachment and fostering a profound level of self awareness and equanimity. As said by me in the second video, some experience of Vipassana sitting would be essential to understand few things being said in this video, as it would be a talk on more of experiment and experience. In the process of Vipassana, if you can see the breath going in and going out, going in and going out, what will happen? As soon as you see this, all the disease of the mind start disappearing, and you will feel such a tremendous silence descending upon you, because it is the deepest mantra that has ever been invented. You breathe here and now. You cannot breathe tomorrow, and you cannot breathe yesterday. You have to breathe this very moment. It is a different thing. You can think about tomorrow, and you can think about yesterday. And in doing so, the body remains in the present, and the mind goes on hopping between past and the future. And thus, there is a split between the body and the mind. The body remains in the present, and the mind is never in the present, and they never meet. Because of that split between body mind, and anxiety and anguish and the tension arise. This state of worry, this anxiety, and this anguish is the tension. One becomes tense and get stressed out. The mind has to be tuned to the body. It has to be brought to the present. Precisely, Vipassana brings that transformation. In observing the breath, it turns the mind from past or future to the present. In observing breathing, thoughts, emotions, and sensations, without an attachment or a rejection, we come to realize an insight that we are not a body. As soon as we see this, an insight begets insight. We get a subtle insight, a clear realization that we are not thoughts, that thoughts are different from us, that we are not the mind, and we get concrete insight, the existential feeling that we are not even breathing, that we are different from breathing. These insights leads to wonderful experience, to an existential quest that who you are, that who am I. In this experience, you will find out who I am. You will know who I am, but then you will not be able to speak who am I. You will not be able to define who am I. You will become silent and enjoy that silence, tranquility, and quietude. You will enjoy that space. You will enjoy that free state of being. Then who bothers for verbalizations? Vipassana is the deepest mantra. Being aware of your breathing will transform you from doer to observer. Breath is life. Breath is the bridge. Our consciousness and our body are connected through breathing. On this side is the body, on the other side is the consciousness, and in the middle is the breath. If you keep watching the breath properly, then intrinsically and unavoidably you will know yourself as separate from the body. Because to observe the breath, it will be necessary that you become firm and stable in your self awareness. The one who sees the breath has become separate from the breath, and the one who has become separate from the breath has definitely become separate from the body, because the body is the farthest. After that is breathing, and after that is you. If you look at the breath, then by looking at the breath, you are intrinsically freed from the body. If you become free from the body, if you become free from the breath, then the eternal can be felt, experienced. Being aware of your breathing, you will find there is a point where it stops. Just somewhere near your navel, it stops. For a tiny moment, for at least a millisecond, it stops. When it moves outward again, then again you will come to a point the breath stops. For a very tiny moment, that gap is the most mysterious phenomenon inside you. When the breath comes in and stops, and there is no movement, that is the point where one can meet the eternal. Or when the breath goes out and stops, and there is no movement, that is again the point where one can meet the eternal. In those two gaps is the door, and in those two gaps you will understand, you will see that breath itself is not life. It may be a food for life, just like other foods, but not life itself. Because when the breathing stops, you are there, perfectly there, and you are perfectly conscious, utterly conscious. And the breath had stopped. Breathing is no more there, and you are still there. And once you continue this watching of the breath, anapan smriti, what Buddha calls anapan sati, or as we are discussing vipassana, if you go on watching it, watching it, slowly, slowly, you will see the gap is increasing and becoming bigger and bigger. Finally, it happens that for minutes together, the gap remains. One breath goes in and the gap, and for the minutes, the breath does not go out. All has stopped. The world has stopped. Time has stopped. Thinking has stopped. Because when the breath stops, thinking is not possible. And when the breath stops for minutes together, thinking is absolutely impossible because the thought process needs continuous oxygen, and your thought process and your breathing are deeply related. You know, when you are angry, your breath has a different rhythm. When you are silent, a different breath rhythm again. When you are happy, a different breath rhythm. When you are sad, a different rhythm again. Your breathing goes on changing with the moods of the mind, and vice versa is also true. When the breath changes, the mood of the mind changes. This is how transformation take place even without any planning or designing by you. I was saying when breath stops, mind stops. In that stopping of the mind, the whole world stops because the mind is the world. And in that stopping, you come to know for the first time what is the breath. Inside the breath, the vitality, the pran, or what we call elan vital, the life inside life. Osho has said many times Vipassana is the method, the most important method of meditation. In the history of mankind, more people have attained enlightenment through Vipassana than through any other method. Vipassana is simply amazing. It transforms your focus from mortal to immortal. It transforms your focus from doer to observer. While discussing meditation is simple and easy, we have discussed Antaranga Sadhana, internal preparation, in three steps: being aware of your body movements, being aware of our thoughts, and being aware of our emotions. To attain the emptiness of the body, the emptiness of the mind, and the emptiness of the feelings. Precisely by practicing vipassana, you are transformed as an observer and you move to your antas, your inner core, your center. That experience is liberating. That experience makes you alert of the eternal, And that is the experience of life itself. The more Vipassana spreads in your life, the more you will understand the wonderful invitation of Buddha, Ihi Passiko, come and see. The next video is on the same topic, Vipassana, an invitation by Buddha. Thank you so much for listening.